Kashmiri chicken curry is an incredibly rich, aromatic and powerful brand of spicing in a very simple format. It's yogurt, there's asafoetida, a handful of spices and thyme in the pot. So we're going to begin with chicken Marylands, and in these sorts of dishes you really want the skin and the bone, because the skin and the bone, particularly with chicken, is where a lot of the flavour resides. So this is a dish that does require a little bit of forethought because of the marinating of the chicken. So we're going to marinate the chicken in a little bit of yogurt, just some plain full fat yogurt. It is said that it's not true Kashmiri Pandit cooking if there isn't yogurt and asafoetida. They're two really key ingredients that are used really broadly across that culinary canon. Some black cardamom. I'm putting about 5 to 6 in there. So just with black cardamom, one of the ways to release their flavour is just to give them a little bit of a crush. You just want to crack the pods. And salt. So about a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half. The beauty of using yogurt with meat is that the yogurt does tenderise a little bit, the acidity in the yogurt. All right, so this is going to go into the fridge for 2 to 3 hours to marinate. All right, but this is something I prepared earlier. Now this is a relatively simple Kashmiri dish, and that there really is only 2 steps. So one is the marinating of the chicken and 2 is the cooking. So we're going to add 4 tablespoons of mustard oil. What you want is enough oil to cover the pot base so that when the chicken browns, it's going to do so evenly. So this has to get hot. So my stove goes to 15, I'm putting it on a 12. So in with this chicken, we're actually going to put some whole spice. And so I'm going to do that before the chicken goes in because I want them to temper a little bit. So clove. We're going to put around 8 clove buds in there, 3 bay leaf and 2 cinnamon sticks. And that's a really common Kashmiri base profile. So it's almost what we call a whole garam masala. So whole garam masala utilises the base of what garam masala is generally made from, which is clove, cinnamon, bay leaf, cumin seed, fennel seed, cardamom, and asafoetida is going to go in here as well. Now I want to act fast because I don't want the spice to burn. And just come and have a look in the pan, and what you're going to see is a really typical start to a Kashmiri meat meal. So how much oil and fat and deliciousness is in the base of that pot. Now the oil in the yogurt, that's going to cause the yogurt to split, but that's totally fine. And what we're doing with this process is drawing all of the moisture out of the chicken and effectively browning it in its own juices with the addition of earthy, pungent, dense whole spice, mustard oil, which has its own floral hot character, and then that creamy, smooth, slightly acidic sweetness of a really beautiful quality yogurt. Now it wouldn't be Kashmiri if there wasn't asafoetida. Say 8 to 10 drops. And that's going to contribute a garlic, sulfuric, oniony, sweet quality. And when you're dealing with spice, I always think it helps to understand why. And the why here, why the strong spicing, is that we're not using a lot of it. And so in place of complexity, what you want is volume or noise or density of flavour. Black cardamom whole, bay leaf whole, cinnamon whole, they're all very structural spices that contribute a really distinctive note to the dish. And when you're dealing with spice in a simpler format, in a more stripped back format, that's what you want. You want distinct, separate, really articulated flavour. All right, so what you can see, 30 minutes on a medium to medium high heat. So the yogurt's split, the oil's all there from the meat and from the oil that we put in at the beginning, and it's browning up. this part of the process is really key to getting the depth in the end flavour. I already feel like I should have made more. Once it reaches this point, it actually happens fairly quickly. So there is a little bit more spicing. I want a little bit of chili water, actually. So it's a hot chili, not a Kashmiri chili. With a little bit of water, a few tablespoons. So when you see this, some of the colour in that roganjosh, firstly the browning, but also this addition of chili water contributes some of that beautiful rich colour as well. This goes in. And then ginger, aniseed, and garam masala. 2 teaspoons of ground aniseed, actually 3 teaspoons of ground aniseed, 2 of ground ginger and garam masala. Now this is going to get mixed through and cooked down. So if it's sticking to the bottom of the pot, you're doing a good job. Like that's the browning and the catching. You want a little bit of that. Okay. Everything's been added. I'm actually going to transfer it to a pressure cooker. And there's something about the way spice cooks in a pressure cooker that results in a slightly different taste profile than when you slow cook it. So if you don't have one, continue cooking as you are, add a cup of water and turn it down to low. This is where a lot of the familiar flavour comes in for me. So I'm going to scrape this off. Make sure I get all the good bits. All right. Okay, so I'm just going to taste it at this point. Wow. It's really got that really heavy umami fat chicken flavour through there. The yogurt keeps things a little cool and the spice is really intense and dark. It's quite dirty flavour, dirty, ugly, delicious flavour. I'm going to add a cup of water. So this is going to get a lid on it. Unpressurized. And just pressure cook on a low, like medium heat, until it caramelizes. So with a pressure cooker, what that means is when you hear the first whistle, turn it down to a low medium and then just let it putter along for probably around 25 minutes before you check it again. So this is done. If you come and have a look inside, you'll see how rich the gravy is. It's got this beautiful oil across the top and that oil has all of that spice flavour in there. It's very, very rich flavour. So this is something you serve with maybe a raita, a nice acidic pickle, a little bit of dry roti. You don't need any more intensity. I'm going to get all of this beautiful oil. Wow, what's interesting about this flavour is the chicken still has this incredible presence, and that's from browning the meat. The chicken flavour's gone right through the spice. The gravy is dense and the chili is actually quite hot in there, but because of the yogurt, there's this beautiful soft blanket. It's really soft. The mouthfeel is really soft and the spice is really intense. And to me, that is really speaks so clearly to Kashmiri food, where it's always comfortable, it's always nurturing, but there's just this power behind it. There's a strength of spice and a last in the mouth. It's really rich flavour. It's so burnished, like it's like someone's polished it up. That right there, that's a taste of home.